Hey gaming fans, so today I have another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and this one's Blue Eyes White Dragon for your GOAT format. This is a deck I just put together, and I've been having a little bit of fun with it. Still tweaking it around, but I thought I'd just show it off anyway. Obviously, we're going to start with the 3 of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, because it's a deck centered around him. Just trying to pull him out, get him out onto the field as many times as you can. So, I know there's different ways of doing it, so this way I've chosen to use Paladin of the White Dragon, or Paladin of White Dragon. It's an interesting ritual monster because he's got 2 great effects. His first effect is if he attacks a face-down defense position monster, you get to destroy it immediately without flipping it up. Very powerful effect. We see that with Suzuki Samurai and the ninja guy or whatever. But he's got 1900 attack, so he's actually a pretty good beat stick at the same time. His other effect is you can tribute him off the board and special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck or your hand. So that's really how we're focusing on pulling Blue Eyes out in this deck, in this build anyways. So obviously if we're playing a ritual monster, we have to play 3 of the Menju of the 10,000 hands. This is self-explanatory. Basically, you summon him and you grab either a ritual monster or a ritual spell. And he's got 1400 attack. Then we're also playing 2 of the Senju of the 1000 hands, which is only searches out a ritual monster card. And I'm playing 2 Sonic Birds, which searches out the rituals. So we have a lot of searcher cards in this deck. A lot of your drops are going to add a card to your hand to keep the hand advantage, because when you play rituals, you typically lose your hand advantage. Then to round out the monsters, I'm playing 3 Luster Dragon, being that it's a normal monster, and it kind of fits with the theme of being dragons, and he's 1900 attack. So we'll get to that later as to why I'm also using normals. So for the spells, we got your typical Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity. Not playing duo in this deck. I just felt that it wasn't necessary. But, you know, as always, throw it in there if you want to always put duo in your deck. But I am playing Snatch Steal, because Snatch Steal is always a good card. It can always finish your opponent off. It could steal their Black Luster Soldier. It could do a whole bunch of things. You know, you probably won't use the monster for tributing unless you already have a monster out and you can normal summon your Blue Eyes. That might happen periodically, but that's not really what it's intended for. Then, of course, we need some help against spells and traps. So I only put in Mystical Space Typhoon and Heavy Storm to deal with that. We do have a few other cards that might actually help as well, but I'll get to those later. And then we have the Premature Burial. This deck I focused a lot on recursion from the graveyard, so we'll get to that as well. So we got Dark Factory of Mass Production. Again, going back to the normal monsters, that's why I put the 3 Luster Dragons in there. You add 2 normal monsters from your graveyard to your hand. Now the reason why I did this is because Paladin will summons from the deck or the hand. So if all your Blue Eyes White Dragons are out of the deck, you can no longer use his effect. So at least we have 1 card that could recoup them. And as for other targets, you can grab your Luster Dragons, even if you just need an extra monster in your hand. Then we're playing 2 Fulfillment of the Contracts, which is basically like playing 3 Premature Burials in this deck, because this is going to go after your only ritual monster. It's the same as Premature Burial's cost. You pay 800 life points, but you can only select a ritual monster from your graveyard to special summon. So naturally, you're going to grab your Paladin of White Dragon, and at that point, you're going to either attack with him or tribute that Paladin off for your Blue Eyes White Dragon, whether it's in the deck or if you replenish it back to your hand. Then, of course, we have to play 3 of the Ritual spell card, because you always want to make sure you get that Paladin out. It's very important you get him out like turn 1 or 2. So we get White Dragon Ritual. We'll Ritual summon that Paladin of White Dragon. Then, because of his effect, we play 3 Book of Moon. Paladin of White Dragon has that first effect that if he attacks a face-down monster, he destroys it immediately. So Book of Moon really works well with him. You'll just end up flipping the monster down and going to work on it. And then, because we play so much recursion in this deck, I threw in 1 card of Safe Return. We do play a lot of kind of Premature Burial style cards and Call It a Haunted. So going to the traps, speaking of Call It a Haunted, we have Call It a Haunted and 2 Soul Resurrection. Now this is like Call It a Haunted for normal monsters, Unfortunately, it puts them in defense mode, but that's okay. You could work around that. Blue Eyes White Dragon himself is pretty beefy defense anyways. He's got 2,500, so he could stop a lot of attacks. But at the same time, you can always activate it at the end of your opponent's turn, and then simply put your Blue Eyes into attack mode on your turn. Another trick you might do is if your opponent goes to destroy Soul Resurrection, you are playing 3 Book of Moon, so you might be able to just flip the Blue Eyes face down. Then for some more control, and this is what I was saying with spell and trap destruction, you can play Raigeki Break to destroy a spell or a trap or a monster. So the reasoning for this is, I figure because we're playing all those cards that search out the ritual stuff, you might get to a point where you have some cards in your hand you don't really need, maybe an extra ritual spell that you don't need because you've already got your Blue Eyes out. You could use that stuff to as Raigeki Break fodder, just to get rid of it. And then we round it off with some basic traps. The Mirror Force, I figure we kind of need that just in case our opponent tries to become aggressive. Especially if you're summoning something in defense mode with your Soul Resurrection, you might want to Mirror Force. And of course Ring of Destruction, because Ring of Destruction is probably the best trap in the game, outside of things like Solemn Judgment, which can stop everything. But I think Ring is just, it wins you games. Anyways, that's my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck for GOAT. This is my first build. I also want to build a second build where I'm going to use Kaiba Man. So if you're interested in that build, I'll probably build that one as well. Anyways, hope you liked the deck. Throw some comments down below. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.